Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod. I'm here to talk about Survivor Season 45, Episode 10, titled How Am I the Mobster? Last week on Survivor, Island target Bruce, who already has a hidden immunity idol, won immunity, so Kendra and her immaculate vibes were voted off the island. Before I dive into this week, I put a link in the subject of the video so you can watch my playlist of Survivor 45 recaps. Also, I'm a newer channel. I really appreciate subscribers, and thank you to everyone that helped me to hit my subscriber goal of 200 by the end of the season. So let's dive into it. They get back to camp after Tribal. Jake announces to us that he's back as a player, not as a pawn, but Drew refers to Jake as Charlie Brown with a cloud following him. Drew points out that Bruce's immunity run needs to come to an end to give them all flexibility in the game to make moves against he and Jake. The next day, Julie cries on the beach, feeling bad about backstabbing Kelly and Kendra. Drew commiserates and cries with her. It must be really hot and sunny because their tears seem to be instantly drying up before they even leave their eyes. I didn't see any tears. Emily is questioning her alliance with the Rebas because she fears that the four of them will never turn on each other, but she feels like Jake, Bruce, and Katora have no idea how to work together. So we're left off feeling like even if Emily wants to flip, she doesn't feel like she can. Katora tells Bruce she feels like they're on the same page, and Bruce tells Katora that he gave Kelly his idol when Kelly was voted out. Then he has a confessional where he tells us that he has no idol, but then he tells her and us that he was lying and acting. I believed him. Katora says nobody would believe him, but I believed him. Bruce tells Jake his lie because he feels like Jake can't keep his mouth shut, so he's purposefully leaking this lie. He plans to get everyone to vote for him and then say, "Sorry, not today," and play his idol. Today, we get a reward challenge where the drone operators were going all kinds of crazy in preparation for. They have to race through some obstacles, then do a ball maze. The reward is going to the sanctuary where good things happen. They'll have turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy. Why wasn't this aired the day before Thanksgiving? The challenge starts, and they're all pretty neck and neck in the challenge. Jake seems to get a great boost from hearing about the turkey and mashed potatoes because he gets to the maze first, and Julie is last. Kneecap by kneecap, as Jeff says, which is a weird way to describe that someone is crawling. The table maze comes down to Austin and Emily, and Emily wins it and has an emotional speech and has really come a long way since being on the show. She'll also get letters from home and get to pick 3 people to share it with her. She picks Julie, Katora, and Dee, sending the 4 guys home to either bond or bicker. At the sanctuary, they get beanbag chairs. I effing love beanbag chairs. They also get a turkey that's about the same size as last week's chicken. Big chicken, little turkey. Emily has a confessional holding a glass of red sangria, which is performative, posh, and perfection. Katora pours her salt on the turkey. It goes ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. Katora tells the ladies that Bruce is planning to tell his big lie about his idol and calls it a half-brained plan. She tells us that she's out for revenge. Emily even refers to the reward as a Thanksgiving feast. Back at the camp, the boys are talking about farting. Then they start farting. Drew flexes. They burp. They pound. They throw coconuts. They go snorkeling. Austin flexes. Bruce carries a heavy log. They talk about meat and bacon, and this is scored by some kind of Boys Will Be Boys 80s montage music, and Drew flexes and they freeze frame it. I'm not anti-fun. I love fun, but this was just like halfway fun. Give us real music. Like, I'd like to see this re-edited with the song I'm Too Sexy going over it. Then we get a winner's edity spearfishing montage of Austin as he catches a giant fish and shouts out, "It's a Thanksgiving feast." I'm telling you, this is the Survivor Thanksgiving episode. Thanksgiving is done. It's no longer harvest time, CBS. In the water, Bruce tells Jake that he wants to vote for Dee. Jake runs that plan right back to Drew, and Jake tells Drew that Bruce gave his idol to Kelly. Drew then tells Austin about Bruce's lie that they currently think is a truth. Back at the sanctuary, they get their letters, and there are some real tears. Emily talks about her boyfriend, and there's a cute picture of them that comes up on screen. I'm pretty sure she's practically proposing to her boyfriend on TV with her sangria in her hand in the confessional. Katora gets a letter from her mother who she hasn't been speaking with, and I could tell that the sangria really is hitting on this reward. It'd be like that sometimes. In the evening, the girls return to camp. Emily and Drew talk. Drew tells Emily about the Bruce lie, and Emily says, "Oh, that's 100% a lie. Katora told us." Jake finds out that he's the backup target, and then he says he wants to target Drew. Drew refers to himself as indignant over this. Drew confronts Jake. Drew says, "Island full of people, why me?" Jake tells us that Drew thinks that he is a gift from God. Jake tells Drew the conversation is over. Drew says, "All right, mobster." Jake says, "Dude, I'm on the bottom. How am I the monster?" And he said the thing, but it's in the middle of a little tiff. In confessional, Drew calls Jake a goon. I think that will be the word of the day. At the immunity challenge, Jeff says, "Bring in the boat." He snatches the idol back from Bruce because that thing is back up for grabs. The challenge is endurance, where they're laying on a tilted rack over the water, holding onto pegs behind them. Jeff claps his hands, and we will get clap it, clap on. Let's go. The challenge is on. Emily seems to instantly be struggling. Jeff says it's dead quiet, so he must disrupt the silence with commentary. Emily is out first. Katora is struggling because I guess she's afraid of the water, and she ends up climbing off the challenge. Jeff consoles Katora with an always effective light pack on the back. There. Julie is out next, and there's lots of close-ups on everyone's feet. They'll do anything to get people past that Paramount Plus paywall. Jeff makes them lay flat to increase the difficulty, and Dee is out next. The ladies must be hungover from that sangria. I know I would be. Drew and Jake are out next, and it comes down to a showdown between Bruce and Austin. Bruce drops and Austin wins immunity. He even does a little flip. Jeff tells them to swim out, and Katora is not down for the swim. Jeff says, I have lost so much over the years. I will not lose this. Their tradition is to jump in the water. Jeff is trying to be sympathetic, but he's get your ass in the water. So Katora ends up jumping on in, and Jeff shouts out, nice work, Katora, but it sounds like he's shouting it from heaven. They return to camp. Bruce says he wants to play his idol. Julie says she's writing Jake's name down. Katora tells Emily, we can't go to the finals with Julie. Katora wants to target Julie, so there's a lot of names going around. Emily might be down for the Julie plan. She goes to Bruce to tell Bruce about the Julie plan. Emily does tell us that she's trying to trick Bruce into not playing his idol. Bruce ends up telling Jake that he lied to Jake, and the plan is to vote for Julie. Jake cries alone on the beach, and Katora and Bruce comfort him. Emily lays out for us that it's going to be Bruce, Julie, or Jake going home as they walk to Tribal, and that if Bruce does go home, it's a feather in her cap. At Tribal, they talk about Bruce losing immunity. Jake talks about feeling insecure and having imposter syndrome. Jeff points out that Julie is Tribe Mom. She panders a bit to the jury, talking about how bad she feels about blindsiding Kelly and Kendra. Emily is Jeff's go-to person when he needs a narrator at Tribal to sum things up. Jeff will be talking to Jake about Jake's life and then turns to Emily, sum that up for me. They all talk about how Bruce is definitely playing his idol, and we get to the votes. Bruce decides not to play his idol, and Emily puts her hand on his shoulder, the touch of death. The jury is shocked. There are 3 votes for Jake, 1 vote for Julie, and then 4 votes for Bruce come out, and Bruce is voted out with an idol in his pocket. The other players are ecstatic. They say Christmas came early today, and I feel like Thanksgiving came late. So here we have to say goodbye and gobble gobble to Bruce. Unfortunately, he was the one who got stuffed and snuffed tonight. As a returnee, I fully expected Bruce to be a completely different person than we got on this season. I can definitely see why Jeff was excited to have Bruce back, because I feel like what we got this time was Bruce's audition video. Last season, in the 15 minutes he was on, he seemed like a super serious guy. And yes, there were times when he was serious. He kind of filled some of my favorite archetypes, which is the guy that comes to camp on the first day and says, I don't want to be the leader, but you really need to move that rock. And that's not how you fold the fronds. But thankfully, it could have been a lot worse if Bruce didn't have such silly goose syndrome. I'm actually left off feeling like Bruce was one of the better characters on the season, and he was pretty hilarious. Ends up getting on everyone's nerves, especially Katora. It really seemed inevitable that Katora was going to somehow get Bruce. And I guess she voted him out in the end, but the juice wasn't really worth the squeeze in that rivalry. He comes into the merge with the numbers, with an idol in his hands, and just completely flounders it, so I can safely say that Bruce is a terrible player. While I will say that I enjoyed him on this season, I really don't think that we will ever, or do I want to see Bruce ever again. I'm happy that he had a chance to play the game again, but I feel like this was the perfect amount of Bruce for a lifetime for me. We did get a preview for next week's episode where Dee and Austin are cozying up. It seems like they're flirting, and Julie's game is at risk is the big tagline for next episode, so I'm guessing that Julie will be just fine. Someone's gonna find Bruce's idol that's re-hidden, and I think it's gonna be one of the Rebas. They pretty much have this game stitched up in my opinion. I feel like the show is taking every possible excuse to make it not seem obvious that the Rebas are running the game, but I think the biggest intrigue for the rest of the season is, can Emily find a way to weasel her way into the final 3 here? That's all I have to say for today. I feel like I was a little sillier than usual with this. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe. I upload my Survivor videos every Wednesday night after the episode. I'll see you Wednesday. Have a nice weekend. Bye!